Will you people just shut up? Will you just shut up?
What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to Grimm. Today we're meeting with a couple of parents that just don't know how to be friendly with each other, and Dr. Phil is really about to put them in their place, as you just saw in that intro. Keep watching until the very end because he goes in on these people, and honestly, they deserve it because they were not doing a good job at co-parenting. Anyways, without further ado, let's just see how they act on the Dr. Phil show today, shall we?
There are kids caught in the middle of this.
Unfortunately, yes.
You act like you're pondering that. Is this a revelation to you? You just learned this when you got here?
No.
Dr. Phil already coming in with some attitude here. You know, I found after watching pretty much every episode of this show for the past year and a half that Dr. Phil does not like when people do not say what they mean and, you know, waste his time, and is often the one to make them not beat around the bush when it comes to sensitive topics. Especially as he's got older, I feel you gotta be on your game and ready to be honest when you come on his show because he's wasting precious time. I mean, this man could be retired on a super ultra mega yacht somewhere like a GTA Online character, but no, he's here dealing with your terrible family problems.
Julie and I do a good job of trying to keep them out of it, but I think she just has really inappropriate ways of talking to her kids about everything about what's going on.
I can already tell this dude is a weasel. Like, he's been on the show for what, 10 seconds and is already throwing his ex-wife under the bus. He's all like, well, we try to do a good job to keep them out of it, but it's pretty disgusting to see how my terrible ex-wife over here treats these kids. She's always trying to brainwash them against me. Like, chill out, dude. This isn't a hit piece for your ex-wife. You're here because your kids aren't happy and they're afraid of how bad their parents' relationship is getting. You don't have to be throwing your ex under the bus right away, all right? I'm sure she's done, you know, some bad things in the past, but let's at least get some concrete facts down first.
You try to keep them out of it?
We try to...
Weren't you just on the phone telling your daughter that you were here to try to straighten her out, and that as soon as this was over, she was going to be spending more time with you?
I didn't.
Yikes, so Dr. Phil literally just exposes this moron right after he is getting all high and mighty about not bringing the kids into it. Yeah, you can't exactly say that when just 15 minutes ago backstage in the green room, you're calling that same kid on the phone and telling them, hey, listen, mommy needs help. We're here on Dr. Phil's show so that everyone can see how crazy and wacky she is and how bad of a mom she is to you. You're going to have a lot more time at my house from now on because mom is probably going to be locked up in the loony bin. Like, dude, that is a disgusting move right there on this man's part. Like, that is so whack. Again, with my parents, I've talked about this before, they were pretty amicable when they divorced. Hopefully that's the right word. So I never really had to suffer through that small catfighting mental manipulation stuff that most kids of divorced parents have to undergo. And I'm super thankful for that, but sadly, this kid that they're talking about today, and if they have any other kids, are not in the same boat. Like, they're just screwed. They have two parents that totally hate each other and had to go on the Dr. Phil show to figure out who deserves to keep care of the kid. I mean, that is just bad. As soon as this dude is called out too, he just starts stuttering like he's about to do the outro to the Looney Tunes show. Like, dude, chill out. Maybe let your ex-wife talk real quick and, you know, share her side of the story while you're ganging up on her. Instead, you've been on stage for about 30 seconds and you're already boofing it up big time.
I didn't say personally that. I said that this is not just Bella's
You don't want to
problem.
play semantics with me.
Yikes, dude. This man is off to a terrible start right here. Already caught in a lie, like, immediately, then tried to weasel his way out of it after being caught. Gotta love when that happens too. I swear when you catch people in lies, they just lose all ability to string together a sentence. They're like, I don't know. Like, they just start panicking and freaking out. This is reminding me of those TikToks that girls have made where they expose their friend for getting with their boyfriend or something. Like, this is just so awkward right now, and I can't handle it, but it's also really entertaining.
The night before you're going to do your field shoot to give me relevant information about the circumstance, you decide to dump your daughter and go out drinking.
Okay, so turns out they are both quite problematic. This lady had Dr. Phil's crew coming out to her house the next morning to assess the information and, you know, show and film some of the cinematic B-roll footage for the montage to see how their living day to day is. And this lady, after being already accused of being a drunk, goes out and parties like she did the weekend before when her daughter was having her 13th birthday. Poor kid probably didn't even get to have friends over for a sleepover or nothing. Her mom just decided to go turn up at the club instead. Both of these parents seem like utter morons so far, so no wonder their kid or someone wrote into the show. Like, this is just not a good situation for any kid to be in the middle of. I feel so bad for whoever their kids are, seriously. I'll say that a lot in this video, but I do feel terrible.
Children are just not a priority to you. That you leave your daughter alone to go frequent bars.
Okay, you know what? Before they brought this list up, I was like not on board with this woman being a good parent already, but this is just a whole other level of terrible. I'm not even going to read off most of the stuff on this list out of, once again, fear of not being able to have ads on this show, but wow, this lady is a real piece of garbage. How could you do any of this stuff to your children? Like, I'm sorry, if you're that big of a piece of work, maybe you just don't have kids if you can't handle it. I hate to see how many people are out there that have kids when they are just not worthy or able to care for them at all. I mean, this dude could completely be making up most of this stuff here, but at the same time, I'm sure some of it is rooted in truth. And in fact, it's probably his daughter that is telling him all this stuff, you know, firsthand, so he has to take it at face value because she's sick of it too. What a terrible, terrible situation all around, though.
That's why you're getting attacked.
Yeah, don't get too far up on your high horse, buddy, because I'm coming to you.
See, now this little weasel boy over here to the left is piping up, and Dr. Phil had to put him in his place real quick. I love how he was so quick to pile on when she was getting interrogated here. Like, you know, obviously this is what he's on the show for, just to, you know, besmirch his wife's name. I'm using these big words today, guys. I don't know if they're right. All right, don't judge me if they're not, but that's just what came to mind, okay? But really what I see here is just two broken, honestly annoying people that somehow got together and for some reason had a kid, and it has just caused a world of trouble for everyone involved. How did these two even meet in the first place? Like, they seem like polar opposites, by the way, bro. Like, I don't understand this at all.
She's mean to her children, and she's mean to Ben.
Yes.
So you have a big inventory on her parenting.
Yes, I'm a parent myself.
So now on stage as well, we have Weasel Boy's new boo, who is also a parent and just hates this other mom. Like, you can tell she's on stage just adding onto this pile and blasting this woman. I do feel kind of bad for the ex-wife. I mean, you can tell she's probably not the world's best mom from that list that we saw earlier, but I bet some of this stuff could be overinflated or dramatized to make her look worse than it is. And it's probably pretty terrible feeling to have your ex-husband start seeing someone new, and when they do, they just start hating on you for everything that you do parenting wise. Like, that's a tough spot to be in for this woman, and I do kind of feel for her for that.
So guys, real quick, I have a super fast challenge that only takes 5 seconds to complete. So if you can leave a like and subscribe within the next 5 seconds, you'll get 10 years of amazing luck. Just give it a try, it really works.
She doesn't need to know what kind of guys you go out with or how long they've been at the house.
And she also doesn't need advice from you.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
Ooh, Dr. Phil standing up for this woman real quick. I mean, it's a fine line when you're a step parent. Like, yeah, you want to help care for that kid and make sure that the real parent, you know, is obviously doing their job. But there's also a line that you can overstep boundaries wise. And I mean, this woman has literally spent the last 2 minutes going on about how terrible of a person the real mom is. So I think that's crossing the line in my opinion. Like, yeah, she might be doing a terrible job, but we also don't need to all doggy pile onto her and just make her hate her existence. Like, let her at least stand up for herself and explain her side of the story, you know? Oh, this is just so awkward. I always feel super weird when Dr. Phil calls people out or, you know, kind of goes passive aggressive on them, and this is one of those times. Like I said earlier, I do truly feel for this stepmom, or should I say new girlfriend, since they aren't married, but she does need to pipe down a little bit, you know? She's just like a guest on this show, and it's kind of taking it over just to smear this woman's name, and I don't find that to be very cool at all.
you can't render a valid opinion on this dynamic because you showed up 15, 16, 17 years after.
Dr. Phil brings up another really good point here. You know, this woman is going to be obviously very biased because she loves Weasel Boy. For all that we know, Weasel Boy could be manipulating her and telling her all this messed up stuff that his ex has either done or is actively doing. So she is going to be one-sided when it comes to this argument because she's only getting information from one side. And I like that on this show, even though Dr. Phil knows someone might be in the wrong, he allows them to explain themselves and tries to see it from their side or get inside of their head and see why they're doing that. And I'm sure for this ex-wife, everything feels very one-sided at this point. Literally everyone on the show right now is explaining how terrible of a mom she is, and I'm sure a lot of it is valid. Look, I'm not trying to cover for her, but there's so much more to the story than we could possibly know from just a few minutes on this show. I guess I try to explain that in a lot of my videos, you know, because it's something I've learned as I've grown up and matured. I'm gonna drop some knowledge on you guys, but even though situations may feel very black and white, there are many sides to every story, so you gotta hear everyone out. I will say though, every time this woman has gotten a chance to talk, she just gets super defensive and is like, oh my god, I don't do that to my kid, that's crazy. Like, she could be a little bit more articulate, So with that final note, Dr. Phil really explains to these people this road that they've been driving down of fighting between each other and constant toxic attitude when around their daughter, because it's really pulling the daughter apart at this point. Like, she is literally stuck in a cycle of constant fighting between her parents. All in all, I think they are both sort of unfit to be good parents right now. So, you know, hopefully after this show, they've cleared their heads and they can figure something out before it's too late. And this girl is just messed up beyond belief as a young adult. Let me know what you guys think of these two down in the comments below if you agree with me that they are really messing up right now, and I'm glad Dr. Phil was able to help them out. Anyways, as always, I'll see you guys in the next video, and until then, peace out.